It's permissible to pray without your head covered. Madhab Fulan, Imam, the Prophet ﷺ told the Muhrim not to do what?
Cover his head.
Cover his head. The Prophet told the pilgrim not to do what?
Cover his head.
Cover the head. When you make Hajj, you make Salah or not? So if it's mandatory to cover the head, how can you make Hajj and make Salah? So that proves that statement, regardless of who said it, we're not getting to that. Why? That proves that statement is scientifically what?
Incorrect.
Incorrect, without a doubt. The Prophet told the Muhrim, the pilgrim, not to do what? Cover their head. Do not wear a hood, do not wear burmas, do not wear an imam, a turban. So the Muhrim cannot cover his what? His what? What the Muhrim can't do?
Cover his head.
He can't cover his head. What did the Prophet do when he made Hajj? Did he pray or not? He prayed. So this proves that covering the head in the Salah is not for a man. So therefore, but it's recommended. Let me cover my head. So that's the Sunnah way of prayer. Starts off how you dress, how you think, your wudu. And then you face the Qibla. Palms should face the Qibla. Don't do this. Is it mandatory to do this? Not talking about what's mandatory. The palms should face the Qibla. Hands should be clenched together. Nor should the fingers be spread out like this. Normal. Raise the hands to the tips of the ears, or at least the shoulders, or that which is between them two. Allahu Akbar. Not Allahu Akbar. Or some Muslims they do this. Or some people they do this. Allahu Akbar. Many Muslims they do this. That's not how Muhammad ﷺ did it. Simple, easy, natural movement. Allahu Akbar. If you wish to put your hands on your chest, that's fine. You wish to put them beneath the chest, that's fine. If you put them on top of your navel, that's also fine. If you put them beneath your navel, that's fine. But it's not most preferable. It's not most preferable. We're going to get into no fake arguments or debates in here. Okay? Then, when you put your hands, do you do this? Simple, easy ways. Then you start off by saying something. You make a supplication. Then after that supplication, you seek Allah's refuge. Then after that, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, silently, not aloud. Then you recite the Fatiha with good tajweed. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Not Alhamdulillah, no. Slow, simple, easy. Then you recite a surah afterwards. And there's specific surahs that the Prophet used to recite in specific salats, which you have to learn. Then you want to go into the next movement, you just don't drop and jump. Wait, raise your hands once again. Muhammad, raise his hands. Imam Fulan, this one, I'm not going to be asked about him in my grave. The angel's not going to come to me and says, what is your view on Imam Fulan? No matter how great of an Imam he was, those angels are not going to what? They're not asking me about him. They're asking me about who?
You.
Muhammad. Muhammad raised his hands. The Sunnah, the proper way, is to raise the hands again. Allahu Akbar. And you bow down to ruku'. Back not low, back not high, head not up, head not low, straight. Elbows should be locked. Focusing on the salah. And there's certain things that you should say. Subhana Rabbil Azim. At least 3 times, preferable. And then after, there's another supplication to make. You come out of ruku' slowly. Sami Allahu liman hamida. Raise the hands once again. Muhammad raised his hands. The Sahaba of the Prophet ﷺ raised their hands. Imam Fulan, this one, that one, I'm not responsible for what they did or what they said. But I have clear dalil that Muhammad what? He raised his hands again. That's the Sunnah. Everyone understand this? Not this madhab, Muhammad's way. He raised his hands again. Sami Allahu liman hamida. Allahumma rabbana wa lakal hamd, rabbana lakal hamd. Allahumma, many different supplications to make. But those supplications have to be from the authentic Sunnah. Not from a collage of du'as. Not from a baseless book. But authentic Sunnah. Everybody understand this? You make the dua, you stay here for a second. The Sunnah of the Prophet said when he would come out of ruku', one companion said he was staying for such a long time, we would say that he forgot. Not like many imams. Sami Allahu liman hamida, and he go right back. No, that's wrong. Stay there for some time. Then you go down to the sujood. Whether you go upon your knees like this, whether you go upon your hands, what is important? Whether it's the hands or the knees, don't do as many Muslims. It's plop down. On the hands or the knees. It's to be a slow, gentle, gracious movement. Allahu Akbar. Hands or the knees, both optional, what we believe. Then you go into the sujood. The hands are not to be like this. It should be spaced. as long as you have enough space in the row. If you're praying by yourself, it's a different story. Feet, let's say, put the feet together. Let's say that for now. And you make your supplication. Subhana Rabbil Ala. Subhana Rabbil Ala at least 3 times. And then other supplications to make. In the sujood, you can ask Allah for whatever you want to ask Allah for. Dunya or deen. But it should be in Arabic. In the Fard prayer, it should be in Arabic. Then you come out of the sujood slowly and gracefully into sajda. With your feet, there's different ways of doing it. Sit. And there's supplications that you can make in the sajda. Asking Allah for forgiveness. Rabbi ghfirli, Rabbi ghfirli, Rabbi ghfirli, oh Allah forgive me. No specific dua after that. You sit there for some time. Then you go back into the sujood. And then you go up again. How do you come up? The sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is that it says whenever the Prophet stood back up, he would do it on his hands. On his hands. Allahu Akbar. Don't raise the hands again. Go back to how you held them before, how you folded them before. Recite the Fatiha again, another surah to the end of your salah. As far as the tashahhud, then the tashahhud, at-tahiyyatu lillah, tayyibat, okay? The finger should not be moved like this. Don't move the finger. The finger should be kept straight. Whether you move it when you make a specific dua and then lower it, but we believe that the finger should what? Shouldn't be done. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't move the finger. If you keep it still, it's not a part of the mandatory salah. But he asks now for the perfect. Everybody understand this? Well-rounded. You make it tashahhud. After you make it tashahhud, send prayers upon the Prophet. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Authentic dua, the authentic supplication. Then after that, you seek Allah's refuge from 4 things. What are those 4 things? What are those 4 things that we make every salah? We should know this. We should be saying this on our salah. Every single salah.
عذاب القبر.
Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min.
عذاب القبر.
From the punishment of the grave.
رجاء.
What's the specific supplication of the Prophet? What did he used to say? Specifically. What did he tell us to say? We have to learn this. Knowledge and salah, knowledge and spirituality go like what? Brown on rice. There is no spirituality without knowledge. Everybody understand this? Spirituality goes what? With ilm. Being pious, having zuhd, dhikr Allah can be based off of what is based off of ilm. And ilm only comes from hard work. So you seek refuge in Allah from those 4 things, then you make another supplication. Allahumma a'inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. And then after that, the Prophet ﷺ, or even before that, he says, ثُمَّ لِيَتَخَيَّرْ مِنَ الدُّعَاءِ أَعْجَبَهُ إِلَيْهِ. Then make any dua that you want to make. Rather, after you send prayers upon the Prophet, make any dua that you want to make. For success, Allah find me a wife. Allah give me a wife. Allah allow me to be successful. Anything of good of this life and hereafter, you ask Allah for. Then you salam out. And the sunnah, the basic necessity of salamming out will just be keeping your hands straight. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. That'll be it. Recommended, preferable way, assalamu alaikum facing first. Don't turn your head first. Make salam facing the qibla. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And then don't get up and run out the masjid. Because if you do, that's not helping you to fight your nafs and to get that khushu'. Sit and you do what the Prophet did. Most Muslims today, 9 out of 10, what's the first thing they do when they salam out to prayer? Raise their hands and make dua. Is it haram? Is it a bid'ah? We don't have to go that far and say that. But we know for sure it is not the sunnah. It is in contrast to the sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ told you to make dua when? In tashahhud. So look at the harm of not following the sunnah, following the culture, following some sheikh and some imam. You have solid gold, you say, no, give me that piece of brass. I'll take brass. Brass is good. Copper is good, silver is good, but it isn't what? Solid gold, not just gold, solid gold. Gold plate, this is solid gold. Flash gold, rolled gold. No, solid gold. The Prophet said, make dua when? In the tashahhud. I guarantee you, if you sat down and talked to most Muslims, they don't make the dua in the tashahhud. When they salam out, they do what? Make the dua. Sad. Allah gave them solid gold and they want. Makes no sense or does? Makes no sense. So that's the best place to pray is your tashahhud. When the Prophet would salam out, Ibn Abbas would say, we knew that the prayer was over during the time of the Prophet because Ibn Abbas was a young man. When the Prophet died, Ibn Abbas was barely in puberty. So the years that he prayed, Ibn Abbas was a young lad. He wasn't always necessarily in the rows, in the rank. He may have been washing, he may have been in the house. On him, he says, we knew that the Prophet and the Sahaba were done the Salah, we would hear the takbir. Assalamu alaikum to Allah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, at least 3 times. How many Muslims do this? The Prophet used to say something there. Ibn Abbas says that's how we knew that the Salah was over. Not by seeing their hands in the air. Because people are going to come and they're going to argue. Are you saying it's haram, brother, to make dua and raise your hands? Is that a bid'ah? We don't have to get into no sticky arguments with you. But we know for sure that isn't the what? That's not the way of Muhammad. Muhammad would make supplications. And he instructed us to say other supplications. Allahumma anta salam, make salam, tabarakta, ya dhal jalali wal ikram. Subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, make the tasbih, make the tahleed, make tahmeed with your hand. Is it haram to use the beads? Is it bid'ah to use the beads side? We didn't even what? I didn't get into those arguments. Because there are many Muslims who want fitna. Anything that they don't understand, it's uncustomary, they want fitna. I'm not arguing with you. I didn't say anything's bid'ah. I came with one message. That's the sunnah. And the proof that's the sunnah, those books on the wall. That's the book right there, right behind you. Any book, any book. Any book out of the green book, the Fath al-Bari. Quick. It says here, in this book, any random place. It says, Bab laysa ala al-Muslim fi farasihi sadaqah. Imam al-Bukhari says, there's no sadaqah due upon a Muslim's personal horse. If you have a personal horse, 10, 20, 50, 100 horses, there's no what? There's no sadaqah. How can you have 50 horses and not pay sadaqah? That's a lot of money. Horses are extremely expensive. You have to pay sadaqah. You're a wealthy man. You're poor Muslims. The Prophet ﷺ said what? No sadaqah upon the Muslim with regards to his horse. I'm bringing you this, Imam al-Bukhari's chain of narration. Between him and the Prophet ﷺ, he says Adam, Shu'bah, Abdullah, Sulaiman ibn Yasar, Iraq ibn Malik, and Hurayra. 5 people. Qala Rasulullah. You come and you tell me a Muslim has to pay sadaqah on his horses. Why? Give me your book. Where is your proof? What are you quoting? Are dhikr beats haram? I'm not getting to that. I'm not coming here to fight you over that. But I'm telling you from this source that the Prophet ﷺ made tasbih with his hand. We didn't even say right hand, we said hand. Preferably right hand, but that's another issue. Everybody understand this? So I'm not here to argue about this being a bid'ah, raising this, but we're here to prove that what? We have the authority that's going right back to the Prophet that what? This is how he did it. And if you're not doing it upon Muhammad's way, whose way are you doing it upon? Whether it's haram or, it's a very important concept here, you understand this? Whether it's haram or not. Everybody understand this? You understand this? Then you make your tasbih, and then you recite some Quran, Ayatul Kursi, surahs that the Prophet used to say, or told the people to say. And then if you wish to raise your hands and make your personal dua, that's fine. And then the Prophet will make the sunnah prayers. And it's always best to make those prayers in your home. It's permissible to do it in the masjid, but it's best in your home. The Prophet, why is it best in your home? Imam Fulan, Ahmed, Malik, Shafi'i? No. Because Muhammad said, فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ صَلَاةِ الْمَرْءِ فِي بَيْتِهِ إِلَى الْمَكْتُوبَةِ. He said the best place for a man to pray is in his home, except for that which is maktuba. When you pray in your house, you make your house have nur, have light. Shayateen leave. It's not a graveyard. Your wife, she may have forgotten about the salah. Not saying that a woman's going to forget about salah. We're just making an example here. Men can forget about salah and a woman can. This is an example. Maybe she forgot. Maybe something happened with the baby. Maybe. She comes and she see you making your sunnah prayers you came from the masjid. What is that going to instantly do? It's going to remind her, oh, I got to make salah. Your little small children that run up to your legs and pull, Abby. You're making what? Salah. What type of psychological effects is going to have on your small kids? We saw our Abby making salah from a young age. We always saw Abby making salah. You think they're going to grow up, do drugs, smoke, and this and that, get tattoos, Abdul? Abdul's tired. They're not going to do that. In most cases, because they have that tarbiyah from a young age, Abby was righteous. Abby didn't just tell us, but he also led by example. So there are many benefits of making the nafil prayer where? In the salah. It doesn't mean it's haram in the masjid. You go back to work, right in the masjid. You're going to forget, wife is going to jump on you, your kids are going to jump on you, no problem. But it's best to do it in the house. And most Muslims today, when they salam out the prayer, what's the first thing they do? They make the extra prayers. They go against the sunnah and they prevent the people from leaving the masjid when they have to go. All good is in the way of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Every piece of light is in the way of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And all darkness is in something other than his way. If it's a technical issue, scholars differ, proofs and evidence is false, it's a different story. You avoid all those things. You take that which is clear, and that which is simple, and that which is solid.